Good evening and welcome to the Big Clash. It is Wednesday evening and we have a full house. A very full, well, it's Thursday. It's Holy Thursday. It is Holy Thursday. I'm living too happy. It is Holy Thursday. We welcome you to our live broadcast of Angola taking on the BVI in one of the first of two practice matches. And we welcome you to our live broadcast. While we will have our lineups for you in just a while, I'll take you through the Angola's lineup. And the man down, we have Tony in the house. So one of my good friends will be taking you through the BVI lineup. So for the Angolians in goal is going to be the man, Jelani Lawrence. The number 8 is Jermaine Hughes. That's the captain, Keon Lee. Well, he is back for Angola. Keon Lee is back in national colors. Is it for the first time we are going to see Antoine Fleming, number 5, in Angola colors? Keontae Brooks starts this evening. Joran Smeens, Aiden Scipio, Jaron Gale, Malachi Gums, Jordan Deans, and the man, Kieran Bryan. So that is the starting lineup for the Angola. Tony will take us through the lineup for the away team, the BVI team.
Yes, good evening once again, and good to be back in the booth on this Holy Thursday occasion of this international friendly match between these two teams. I think I got my notes crossed a bit because I thought the team was heading to the BVI, but instead, as I was told by the president, the under 15 will be going, and they are hosting the BVI male senior team as well. The team reads Harry Foden, he's the goalkeeper, wearing the number 1 shirt. Tyler Forbes, Kristen Javier, Miguel Marshall, Andrew Morton, Joel Mars, Johari Lacey, William Green, Adrian Padilla, Akeisha Williams, Kevin Caesar. That's the starting lineup. The substitute, Keleni Nikki, Carlos Septos, Alejandro Santos, Sebastian Santos, Jaden Kwashi, Mark Tan, Jake Forbes, and Akeem Paddy. That's the bench for the visiting BVI team. And again, Millie, we will be looking for a good showing from both teams here, as we know that Anguilla have a couple more World Cup qualifying games that is due on tab in this year, and I'm certainly sure that they'll be looking to put their best foot forward, especially with a more local setup as we are seeing from the team sheet.
Yes, indeed. Also, we will be graced with the presence of the Guatemala team, and that they will be playing here, and then we'll be traveling to St. Vincent to take on St. Vincent in St. Vincent. So, so we are going to be here, and for the Anguilla bench, it's Carlos Ruiz, Nicholson Millington, to Jari, that's Tavari Liverette Francisca, Kamari Gums, Micaiah Brooks, Shamar Brown, and Kevin Paul. That's the bench for the Angola, as we see now, as we look beneath us, and we see in all green is the BVI team substitutes walking out to the dugout.
So, Doc, I have you alongside me here. What would you be looking forward to from these two teams, more so from the Anguillan side of things?
Well, before we go there, I'm seeing a man walking out there. That's the number, is that number 10, Tamarcus Connor? And so, Tamarcus Connor isn't it Tamarcus Connor? Yes. And the number 10, he is on the substitute bench. And I think he will be substitute. Yes. So it's Marcus Connor. the head coach of the Angola team is the man Keith Jeffrey. The doctor is Cecil Griffith. The goalkeeper coach is Randy Gomez, and the kit manager is Leon Jeffers. For the BVI, the head coach
David Perez, assistant coach Felix Percival, Guillaume Perkins, that's the team manager, goalkeeping coach Morris Mark Jr., and Chester James, physiotherapist.
So Doc, welcome to the booth. It's been a while, Doc. You keep running and running and running. It seems so hard to catch you.
I am surrounded by scandalous individuals. A pleasant good evening to all of those taking our commentaries here via AIA Live. And I will say that if you go by recent results between these two sides, it's going to be a close game. All of these games have been decided in recent times by 2 goals or less. So it's always a tough game when these two teams face each other. It's never easy to predict national games because of the fragility of national sides.
Well, the man in the middle is going to be Harden Hodge, ably assisted by AR1. That is the man, Ikari Brown. AR2 is, and it's good to see a female in our lineup. It's the Anisha Benazer, and the fourth official is Mr. Neil Gums.
I'll tell you what to look for from this Angola side. You need to expect pace on the counter-attack.
words of the anthem. I'll let you hear the words of the anthem.
Well, it's a game that promises all sorts of excitement. I can't tell you what to expect from the BVI side. I'm not familiar with them, but on the Angola side, you can see they're going for a bit of a different look, a more youth-focused side, because they've got the man Jaron Gale leading the line, being rewarded for his efforts, his exploits in the league, where I believe he didn't check the most recent standings, but I think he's top scorer now. I think he may have surpassed Sylvanus James.
And one of the things I could tell you, Doc, from looking at the BVI team during their practice session, they look very, very purposeful. They look very business-like. And they look an outfit not to be taken for granted, even they are the only team this evening.
Not at all, as we know, especially with this side, any bit of adversity, anything starts to go wrong, it tends to seem like we're not quite able to plug the hole in the ship before it starts to sink. What I'm going to be very interested to see is how their back line sets up. First off, what formation they look to go with, whether it's a back four shape or a back five shape. Because looking at the compromise of their team, they seem to be very midfield and defender oriented in a sense. Interesting to see where the width, who will maintain the width in the attacking sense. Will it be maybe a Smedes pushed out wide with his pace and directness getting forward?
As you said, it would be very interesting to see the setup, whether they are going to be playing defensive football or we are going to be playing attacking football. In more recent times, we have seen where we want to play attacking football coming out from the Swan John era. And so it would be interesting to see the lineup for this evening.
Final preparations being made by the referee, by the teams. This is going to be a cracker. The team sprint to their positions. You can just start to get the sense as it does appear, as I suspected, Anguilla they'll be going with something a bit out of the ordinary in a sense. It looks like it may be sort of a back five sort of shape, a 5-4-1 possibly. I'll get it for you, but it does appear to be that way. It looks like when I'm seeing Kieran at Lake Brian is over on that left wing back side, playing very high and very expansively. And it's Lee, I believe, on this right side doing the same, while Jermaine Hughes is playing at centre half. Not in the midfield, he's playing at the back, alongside the man in Antoine. And looks like Malachi Gums as well. So they do appear to be playing out of a back five system. Very interestingly enough.
Look at what the BVI is playing though.
Yes, the BVI, they seem to be playing on the traditional 4-3-3. They're pushing one of the midfielders very high into the attacking line and building with just one man deep in the pivot between two centre halves. Here comes the BVI. They get through aggressively, swept across very quickly and well read in the end by Keon Lee. He's going to have a lot of work on his hands today. Lots of work for the fullbacks in this system, in this shape. It was the man Miguel Marshall coming round his outside there.
That's some ups.
That's a lot of ups.
That's some ups.
Very much to the delight of the Angolan crowd here at the REGTC. Williams. Gets this one back. Goes to his keeper Foden. Caesar.
So they certainly have a height advantage, the BVI team.
Morton tries to go down the line in search again of Miguel Marshall. In the early stages, you're just seeing Marshall. He's just popping around a bit of dangerous areas. He's someone that the Anguillans will need to keep their eye on. Shifted wide here to, looks like Kieran at Lake Brian. Trying to find Gale, unable to do so successfully. Brian turns, loses possession out for a throw. So from the early goings of this one, Tony, tell me how you see the BVI shaping up in this encounter.
They've looked very spirited, busy. I mean, they've been given the opportunity to play the ball, and notice that Anguilla has been actually they started so far very deep set, and I think it's a mindset of us here playing in Anguilla as well, because even up to the Masters that we would have played recently, they always allow teams to play the ball, especially in midfield. So maybe that's something that it's early days yet, but I'm noticing that they're giving lots and lots of position to the BVI players, and maybe just waiting to counter attack, even though I'm not seeing anybody far forward.
And this is Angola's downfall time and time again, because even you play that ball over the top, it is only going to be Jaron Gale, and it's Jaron Gale versus the defense.
Lee dribbling himself out of and back into trouble. Dean's fighting and twisting forward. Good strength being shown again there by Miguel Marshall. Played back and out for a corner. A bit riskily trying to go toward Jelani Lawrence there.
That would have been that. He's injured.
First opportunity for the BVI to show their aerial ability from set pieces. They've already shown a bit of a knack for getting high up in the air. To aim at. Shifted it, not a clear well there. Was Jermaine Hughes, the first man to it. Anguillan skipper taking the responsibility of playing at centre half today. It's something that we saw for bits and pieces in previous national team games. Hughes slotting in to the back line, especially on the right side of the back line.
And this is what we are going to see Doc, at a higher level, not what we are accustomed in our league. One, there are a couple of things that the Angolans will have to contend with today. One is speed, and two is the fact that when the ball goes out, there is no time, there is no breathing space. And we noticed that with a free kick, the free kick was taken immediately. And there's not going to be any breathing space at all. So you have to be fit, you have to be ready and up for it.
Here's a John Morton. Morton progressing quickly as runners ahead of him, instead opts to shift it back inward as towards Joel Mars. Wider into the diverting path of Tyler Forbes, the captain, on for an Anguillan throw.
What the Anguilla team will need to do, and we know that it's a pretty young setup, and it appears to go. Is it the throw against?
The throw's been going. It has been given the other way.
Okay.
It was overruled by referee Harding Hodge.
But I don't mind them packing defensively, but they can't allow the pass to still get to the BVI player when the ball comes through.
Indeed, yeah. Shifted across. Mars. Williams goes wider. Good Good composure on the ball here by the British Virgin Islands. That tussled for it. My Kieran Lake Bryan doing some good work out there. And Smeens tries to be direct. He was going long to no one in particular, really. Because, again, that's the drawback of...
Wonderful play.
Good footwork there by Lake Bryan. Smeens on the outside. Smeens has some company in the green shirts, just proved to be too much to handle, really. So again, when you look at them trying to hit on the counter, there's just not enough numbers going forward.
The transition, yes. When they're transitioning, not enough numbers. And they're doing so very slowly. But that was a very good bit of footwork there, nifty footwork by both by Smeens and John Gale.
That's Foden. Picked up by Green. Now shifted all the way across towards Caesar. The BVI build again. Morton. Caesar goes back round. We'll find Williams. Green. Lots of runners forward. Overloading the half space. The BVI doing so brilliantly. Puts one into the mixer. It's deflected out. It will be a corner. But that's the danger they're possessing. That overloading of the ball side for me to be too much for the Angolan defense right now. With the in-swinger here from Joel Mars, yes. 6 green shirts for company now in the area. Mars puts this one in, and Scipio nods it clear. Smeens can't quite get it away, but Kieran Lake Bryan will look to charge with it.
Slow.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
That's Deans. That's Jordan Deans.
And it was Lacey who almost put it through to an on-rushing Jared Smeens. Scipio unable to regain possession. That's nifty, very nifty from the captain, Tyler Forbes. Forbes needs help, needs support. Tries to drop this one inside. And now again, Angola can look to break. There's a lot of individual effort right now. Lots of individual effort. The team taking its time to come out. Now a chance for something to be created. A bit too long there by Brooks. But Scipio recycles it out wide to Keon Lee. Lee with Lake Bryan ahead of him was Jordan Deans. Deans trying to find something. Lee gets it back. Lee into Scipio. Scipio using his body to turn and twist around defenders and again retaining possession. Chianti. That's Brooks finds Lee. Lee to Deans. It's a bit loose from Deans, but Brooks cleans up. The first real spell of possession for the Angolan side. That's a foul. That's a free kick. Cheap foul, cheap giveaway there by the man Jahari Lacey.
Wasn't it so? Don't you think it was so hot, Doc?
I think he stepped in a bit needlessly. Player already had his back turned. The first real opportunity for Angola to create something of substance.
We are hearing the horn, we are hearing the bell. This sounds very familiar, Doc.
Well, we know who's in the house. Angola need runners. It's full to the ground, looking for Keon Lee, but he was only one of 3 Angolan shirts in the area. Lee doing what he's known for, high intensity, high walk rate, and a high boot, as you mentioned, leads to a free kick. Again, Jahari Lacey, the guilty party. There's 2 very quick fouls for the man Jahari Lacey. Need to be careful. This time it will be Keon Lee who will whip this one around. This time he has 4 players to aim at. Scipio ventures forward as well. Dean's now arriving in the area from the other side. Lee. On his best work. Picked up by Gale. Trying to use his foot. Defender used his head, flicked around the corner by Deans. Scipio. And Scipio has a hit and goal.
But why didn't Jaron Gale turn and shoot?
On his left foot.
He was in space.
On his left foot.
I think Scipio just took a little too long to pull the trigger. But good little position there from Angular, I must say. Probably just getting a bit of the nerves out and finding their footing a bit more. It had been the BVI who has been taking most of the play to the Anguillan, and they've looked much more comfortable now.
Well, the boots have been very high for the BVI. We've been away 3 free kicks all in very similar fashion. Trying to turn there was Lake Bryan. That's another foul, another free kick, a very scrappy midfield duel here going on right now. I'm liking the midfield duel I'm seeing. Getting the man, Jahari Lacey, who's dropping deeper, with Adrian Padilla playing as the higher of those front two. He slips taking that one, trying to get it all the way around to Lee. Scipio in for the header. It booted away by Morton. And now Padilla can come away with it. And Padilla looks to go long. He has Jahari Lacey running. Lacey trying to bully the man, Jermaine Hughes, and the Angolan captain unhappy with the BVI striker. First real opportunity we've seen from the BVI, looking to go direct, going over the top. Can that be an avenue for them to break down this tight Angolan defensive wall? Hughes finds Lawrence. Lawrence, of course, the EastEnders FC captain and keeper. Formerly of the Docks and Kicks United. Shifted through, oh, lovely, beautiful. Here come the BVI, looking to put this one into what? Padilla. Excellent defensive work, and it had to be. Not quite done yet. Still the BVI charge with directness, with quickness to the byline. Cut back for Padilla. And Jelani Lawrence had to make himself long, had to extend himself to get that one.
Did so very easily too. Jelani is clearly one of our better goalkeeper here in Angola, and we saw in the last game that they would have played in, was it in Belize, where he really pulled off some magnificent saves, and no doubt that.
So it appears when Angola are building, I like this sort of building shape. They build out of it's a 2-1-4. It's sort of an adaptation, really, an amalgamation of two different building philosophies. There's usually sides built out of a 2-3 or 3-2, but with playing that back five system and holding one of the midfielders deep, it allows one of the centre backs, which in this case is the man Antoine.
The player goes down, stays down. I think that was a foul, you know. It wasn't called. He went down very hard.
And now Scipio is going to allow the referee to stop this one. So what's allowing is for the man in Antoine Fleming to step higher than his back three counterpart, step into more of a defensive midfield role, and then allow the two pivots in front of him, in Scipio and Brooks, to play even a line higher than him. So they have direct links between their centre halves and midfield. They don't need to be able to use these links. You'll notice now as the ball goes back, Anton will just step a bit higher than the rest of his centre backs. Hughes across to Antoine Fleming. Now further wide here for Malachi Gums. Lake Brian back to Gums. Gums has to be a bit, he has to be a bit more alert because Padilla is in. Padilla goes down. It's still Padilla here. And it's going to be a free kick the other way. But they need to be a lot more alert there because that almost spelled danger.
It was a lack of communication. The defender actually stood up. He was like an Iron Man. He didn't make any attempt to clear the ball. He was. I think that he was the closer one to the ball.
Well, I think he made a meal of it actually because the ball was passed back to him, and he actually slept on it and allowed the player, the attacker, to get too close to him, and when he tried to pass it, the ball was blocked. But that's a very careless play. Is that from Malachi over on that far side?
I think there's a lack of communication between Malachi and Antoine Fleming.
Well, Malachi actually had it, and should have done much better with it.
It's Hughes into Lee. Lee back to his keeper, Jelani Lawrence. Lawrence has pressure. This is where they got caught the last time. Can they play out of the trap this time? Unable to do so. BVI immediately onto it. That was the warning shot. It was Jahari Lacey there.
In an offside position. He was in an offside position.
Again, this time was the other forward, Jahari Lacey, getting in behind. Anguilla are living dangerously right now.
And again, it is something that we've seen time and time again, where they try to play out of the back and keep getting caught out, and they can't get the ball to the half line.
Indeed, because what the BVR are doing well is that they're squeezing, starting inward, and then forcing the Anguillians to pick a direction. They're forcing them where they want the passes to go, and then squeezing it on that side. You notice the runs, the pressing runs that were made, they're all very intentional. All very intentional. Lee unhappy that the foul wasn't called against Miguel Marshall. Caesar. Foden. All the way out to the right back. Was that Christian Javier out there? Back right here for Alan Morton. Caesar. Vivia very content to play it around in their own half, seeing as Angola don't have anyone up there trying to press the ball. All the 11 Angola shirts are behind the halfway line. Scipio trying to spin it around. It's a dangerous pass. It's intercepted and they're trying to make inroads here. It's still Jahari Lacey. He's a live wire. Javier. Green. Oh no, that's not Green at all. That's the captain, in fact, in Tyler Forbes. Here's Green now. Angola content to sit in a tight defensive shape. A very, very narrow 5-4-1. In hopes of avoiding all inroads through the center. If they want to attack out wide. Green. Cut out this time by Lake O'Brien, only as far as Padilla. Scipio. There's just enough to get it away. Smeens forward. Smeens being direct. That's what he's been playing out there to do. Just unable to break through quite yet. Morton. His pass cut out. So for the head of Green, and now it's Joran. He needs help. Deans looking back for the speedy Joran Gale, but Ford was off his line very quickly. Foden does very well. Composure again by the British Virgin Isles, just settling it down. Slow the game down. Compose it. So go all the way through back to Foden, the keeper. Morton. Mars. Once Morton again. Morton trying to poke it through into the half space toward Padilla. Deans has done very well in that midfield area. Has had a lot of tussles and battles. Deans to Lee. Looking for Brooks. And Brooks unable to corral that one.
One long, one short. You don't too many short passes in the defensive third there from Dean, but a little bit of cat and mouse, a bit of exchange here. Doc, we see Anguilla having a pretty good spell now. BVI again looks as though they've found their footing again.
Indeed. There's Gale. Can he spring away? He couldn't find his runner. His runner was Smeens.
But why was he trying to come back inside when Smeens was going down the left? He was making the run, and I'm not sure who he was trying to pass that ball to when he pulled it back.
Of course, any followers of the Angola Football League would know that the man Jordan Gale and Jared Smeens, they have a connection. Former teammates for a long time over at the DFC.
Yes, he certainly has to play the space and the area that he has much more support, and he was actually turning into two players away from the only player who was in the vicinity to help him really, and lost out.
I'll tell you what, I'm a really huge supporter of this shape. I like the shape a lot because I coach out of the shape. But the key out of the shape is if you're going to play defensive, you need pace on the break because you need a release. If you play without the release, as of experience, you're going to get punished.
So do we chalk that down to knowing when to turn the speed for the break?
I think it's going to be a cat and mouse game. It's going to be a cat and mouse game because you can see the idea Angola trying to go for. Because every time they gain possession, Smeens is immediately on his bike because he knows he's the breakaway man out wide.
But if that's what they have practiced, Doc, how is it that you are turning in and not using the man?
He's looking for support on the other side, but the support on the other side is not there.
Yeah, and I think Jordan Dean would have to be that player pushing out, especially from the two defensive midfield players that the Anguilla is playing with at the particular moment. So I don't think they are on the page of when to make that trek.
It's Tyler Forbes! Not too far away.
Good low kick. And we hear the noise out there. Maybe Miller, you can tell me who's making all that commotion there.
And the man that knows just who it is.
Oh, we all know who it is. You know,
it's an accustomed noise that we're accustomed to when DFC is playing with the Queens or DFC themselves, the male team. Stacy is in the house.
Diamond #1 supporter. And I'm glad that you pointed that out previously, Tony. I'll get back to it. Here comes Jared Smeens. He's breaking quickly. Now it's Gale. Gale on the outside. Gale cuts it back. It evades everyone. Lee whips it round. Dealt with. Lee goes back. The captain into Scipio. Scipio looking round the corner. And that's a principle you try to apply. That's a principle that you like out of that 5-4-1, that 3-4-3, whatever you want to call it. There's so many amalgamations of the same shape that so many different managers use. And that attack pretty much, it highlighted exactly the point you were just making on that right side now, because Smeens is breaking down the left. Deans, he's sort of playing the position that I call it is a right attacking midfielder. Because he's starting inside, so midfielder, but he's also the most right-sided of the midfielders. So he's the right attacking midfielder. And once Means is going far down that left, he needs to be on his bike on that inside channel on the right.
And for the benefit of our viewers, that really explains exactly what we were talking about, because that ball rolled right where he should have been coming in at. Yeah.
He might have come in a bit too early, but that's the principle that Angola are going for. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they want to attack. It's a good passage of football. Very good passage of football.
Pretty even for both teams, I should say. I think it's quite even Stevens.
The captain, Jermaine Hughes, Deans, Lee again. This time he wins the free kick.
This time he really sold that one this time. Yes.
Once Keon Lee's play, he'll be in the wars.
But the defensive shape there of Antoine, who has been a pretty good defender for quite some time now. I know after the Kicks United team would have tapered off a bit, didn't play for quite some time now with the EastEnders, but he could be a very good prospect. They're missing the services of one of improved players in that of Fleming, Alex, and I think he has really blossomed and came quite a long way.
Yeah. He has taken up the role at centre back very stoutly. As here comes Keon Lee. The Angolians growing more and more into this game as it draws on. Given away a bit cheaply by Jordan Deans, and now Padilla can try to counter. But 4 orange shirts swarm. Padilla is going to get a talking to.
Take it easy, Keon. That's football, but good recovery work in helping Jermaine out. That's good, nice, tough play there.
Antoine, I must say, he's a very big addition to this side. Was what he brings is pace at the back, and lots of pace at the back.
Look at where Means is.
Yes,
he's in an acre of space. He's not picked up, and for time and time again, he's not getting the ball.
And here come the BVI. It's pace down the outside, and he puts it over.
All that pace, nothing come of it. That's just wasted.
Very wasted.
There, Tyler Forbes.
Oh yeah, Millie, Speens is in a lot of space, and it's going to be on the midfield players knowing when to at least seek him out. But because he has been pushing and stretching to the touchline. I beg your pardon.
I'll tell you what. Again, I have a little bit of an advantage because I coach out of the shape. The issue with getting the ball out to Smeens is if you play the direct ball and you get it wrong, you are wide open for a counter attack. Playing out of the shape, it very much dictates that a lot of the passes out of the shape are very premeditated. They're pre-programmed in a sense as to once a ball is here, then this is the next pass automatically. If not there, then here. That sort of way, like a computer program. So with a direct switch, if you get it wrong, you're wide open. Because the back three is split wide. Remember, the back three is wide in order to maintain the possession, the width, and the attack.
Certainly, and like you mentioned, if you do get it wrong, you get the pass too short, you're picked off, and so they'll have to be very clinical and very decisive in the way they tend to move the play to get on that side.
Shifted over the top, headed on by, that was the right back in, Javier in there, and he almost got his head to that.
Yes, one floating over there dangerously.
And Christian Javier coming in, the right back.
And catch caught number 3 is sleeping as well.
But also Adrian Padella, it wasn't too far from Padella.
No, but we know that Padilla is always going to be in those sort of positions. He's really been one of the goal threats so far for the British Virgin Islands. As booted forward, Hughes wins the header, but the referee's going to deem that illegal contact, and it will be a BVI free kick. Just over a half hour into this encounter, the BVI very content to knock it around and not get baited really into the deep low block that the Angoleans have settled into in their defensive shape. Scipio is progressing it, and now there's Smeens. That's their outlet. Trying to get it back inside toward Gale. Again, that's the outlet they're looking for.
And on that occasion, you actually saw the run from Deans down the middle. And it's exactly what we were speaking about. And almost been picture perfect.
Because in the shape, in the attacking sense, you're really dictated by those third man runs. It's something that we don't often speak about in football, because we often wonder about the player, the player passing the ball and the player receiving the ball. What we often neglect is who's going to receive the ball after the person who receives it gets it. That's the third man run that we talk about, and that's so important in the shape, because we know that the front two are going to be always active with each other in a Gale and the Smeens. They're going to be very active with each other. So Deans has to make that third man run through the center, maybe through that right side of the channel, maybe a bit more, that right inside half space. Careless at the back again. Hughes has to no nonsense mode up the field. Now it's Lake Bryan showing very good strength. There, Kieran Lake Bryan dribbling himself into danger. And Green tries to shift it wider for his captain and Forbes. Now it's Smeens. Smeens. Obstacle around the outside to the opposite fullback in Keon Lee, who'll get a lucky bounce. Lee.
Yes,
Nothing
that's
doing. It's a free. It's a throw-in.
Throw-in, yes. Just not see the idea from Smeens, but it's not getting the radar correctly, and looking to really mount the attack, take the attack to the BVI team. But so far, pretty good match, even Steven. No real lots of work for the goalkeepers as yet in terms of shots coming in, but games have been dominated, especially in midfield and defending very well by both teams.
I really like the directness of seeing from the BVI skipper and Tyler Forbes. He wins another free kick. He's been very, very direct when he gets the ball. Knows what he wants to do with it. Wants to get to that byline and put the ball into a dangerous area.
Interesting to know how many players BVI would have had home based. I was listening to a bit of the accent. It's headed away there by Brian Antoine Fleming.
It's a good question you're posing. It's a question I have to ask. I will have to ask.
Offside.
Referee's whistle goes because of offside. It's called there. Assistant referee there, Brown.
So it's like you said, Doc, very youthful. Probably two oldest players out there might be Kian and Aiden. Even Aiden,
Scipio.
Scipio.
Oh no! What about Lawrence?
Oh, Lawrence, yeah, Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Yes. Lawrence is the master.
Yes,
but still playing as a youngster.
Indeed. Outside of the keeper, very young team. We know at times Lawrence is captain the national side.
But when you look at Scipio, though, Doc, he's not old in the Masters territory past 36, 39, but he has played so much football. He has been playing for so long. It's just amazing.
Skip has been around a long time.
Yeah, very long time.
Remember him back in the old salsa ballers days, if you could take your minds that far back.
Yeah.
Winning championships with those old salsa ballers teams. This is a lovely football from the BVI. And it was, again, Jahari Lacey almost getting in a dangerous position. Gale pops it back. Deans in a tight position loses out. Hughes with some very good assertiveness to win it back.
What I would like to see from Dean, though, is like he needs to know when to hold and when to pass quickly. To me, he does hold on to the ball a little bit too much. Hughes almost playing himself in trouble, but recovered nicely.
Did well. Wow. Lee was a bit careless. Well, taking down toward halftime, it's still goalless. We've definitely
Seems like
had
the clock
chances.
is moving slow, Millie.
Well, it seems to be in slow motion. It's, I think the clock is moving very quickly. And this half just started. We are already in the 39th minute of play. Tony, you have not been here so long.
It's
That's why it
Forbes.
seems.
Forbes. Has he kept that one in play, has he? No, he's not. It's out for a corner. Well, if he kept it in play, that wouldn't have been good at all. Because he kept it right in for the BVI skipper Tyler Forbes.
Must say the game has been played in good spirits though between both teams. There's the hard rough play, most on the BVI side of things, but we have seen good composure from the Angolan players as well.
Taking shot. Beats a man a bit too easily. Puts into a dangerous area. And it cleared a lot higher than it is long. Centre back in Caesar goes up for it. Scipio trying to swing a boot as well. Launched the goal! And it was Tyler Forbes again there who almost broke the deadlock.
Wow, dangerously clearing there. It was also almost like an IPL shot in the air, Millie. Clearance long.
Yes, it was. It came across like a bullet. I'm not sure the keeper knew much about that one at all.
Don't think he could have seen it, as Mars does brilliantly. Shifted wider here from Marshall. Mars. Green closed down quickly. He does well to regain possession. Green leaves it. Lacey tries to find his captain. And Forbes wasn't quite on the same page.
Certainly not on the same page there. But aggressive defending there. Jermaine Hughes has looked very aggressive. We know he has.
Bad giveaway. Mars. Deans is doing well to try and regain it. And he's won a free kick.
Kick there from.
They're trying to build from the back. They're definitely trying. You can see that there's a definite focus on a style of play here from our coach Keith Jeffrey. And these are the games to try it in.
Certainly. And it's always a good feeling when you're getting lots of touches of the ball and not chasing as much as we usually are in Anguilla here.
Well, I'm taking a bit of time to observe this BVI shape, and they are playing out of a 4-3-3 at times, but That's a good tackle by Keontae Brooks. They're playing out of a 4-3-3, but on offense, their left winger, who will be the man Padilla, is shifting very centrally. And you're seeing their left-sided midfielder in Miguel Marshall going around to that outside channel on the left side.
Just maintaining.
Feels like they defend out of possibly a 4-4-1-1 at times. Appears to be out of that 4-4-1-1 as Williams into Mars. Caesar. Foden.
Again, so look,
everyone's sitting off for Angola.
Yeah.
Everyone's in their own half.
It's just.
They're very content to tell me, Via, you can have it up there. You're not close to our goal. You're not bothering us. Maz. Lee. Back for Lawrence.
Regiment there.
Will be a foul and a free kick. Taking down toward the halftime whistle.
So in these games, Millie, Doc, halftime most likely 0-0. Do you change players, give the guys on the bench a good looking as well, maybe for the majority of this half?
There's Kieran Lake, Brian. Not to cut you off at all, Tony. Here's Kieran Lake. Let me do this one. Puts it into the area. It's cut up by Miguel Marshall.
Oh my! Did you see that?
Well, Scipio goes down. I saw that.
Did you see that?
I think I came up. They did the mouth.
I'm not sure you saw it. That was a deliberate action. That was a deliberate action. A high hand in the face of Hughes.
Certainly have to go back to.
Those are the little things that the referee can't see. The dirty side of the game. The side I like. Here's Smeeds. Back to Scipio! Big save! Big save by Foden. It had to be because Aiden Scipio got the first real sight on target.
That was a good opportunity. Wonderful play there by Smings. He picked him out well and just going to get past the goalkeeper. The custodian did excellently well in the 45th minute of play.
Harry Foden coming up big for his side.
Very big there for his team, but that was really good built-up play there. And good shot from Smeeds. There's good pressure there.
That's 45. That's halftime. And to answer your question, Tony, what I will think is that, Coach, while you would want to give all your players a run out, you would want to play as close to what you would look like in an international game. And so you probably don't want to just change your most of your team, but what you would want to do is from the 70th or so minute, look to give your players a good run out.
78th minute, well, yeah, like you said, maybe 78th minute, depending on the number of substitutes that you have on the bench, because you're building, because the substitute is just as important as the players on the field as well. So while you may not make wholesale changes, you would want to, I would like to see the likes of Millington and Keontae and those other players.
Keontae has started.
Not Keontae. Tamarcus, yes. Getting a look in just to to see what they would bring to the squad as well. Because I'm certainly sure, well, Millington has been around, Brooks, I'm certainly sure Connor has certainly shown not played for the national team as yet, but it would certainly be good to see what happened in the second half. He has?
Yes, he has. Not only him, but the man Pockets, Tavari Liverett Francisco. He would have had a look in before. Who's that number 7? Doc.
I'm not sure. I'm not seeing his name on here.
I'm not sure who's that number 7. We'll get him for you. But we are going to take a break here at halftime, and we are going to be back with you in just about 10 or so minutes when we will look to bring you live coverage of the second half.
Looks like he has good touches. And the different thing.
Welcome back to the AIA GTC. If you have stayed with us, we are grateful that you're there. And if you're just joining us, you are joining us with a live commentary from the Remenigage Technical Center here in Rainbow City, Angola, where the Angola national team is coming up against the BVI national team in practice game. So there's a double substitution for the BVI. And that.
Just getting back. Well, it's going to be a half with all to play for. The BVI, of course, making a double change at the half.
What is that?
It is.
She took Aisha for a player.
Well, Alejandro Santos has been brought onto the field of play. He has replaced one of the danger men from the first half in Adrian Padilla.
Is that number 14 new player as well?
No,
the Dreadlock? He was on all the time?
Yes.
The number 20 was a new man as well, Jake Forbes. He's coming on the left side and replaced Miguel Marshall, I do believe. Yes, Miguel Marshall.
So corner kick there to the BVI team. Force out in. Looking to see how the mood would be after the talk, whether they will look to press the advantage home more. Certainly look to see what would happen in this brief period here, Melly.
Well, it's whipped into the area and headed clear by Jermaine Hughes. I must say, I think I need to shift my vantage point because the way the game has been played, there's going to be a lot of work for me to strain my neck into the Angola half to see. It was easy in the first half. Corner, no throw in. It's a centre half and Cizo takes it and lumped away. This is the chance to break. They have to understand that the centre back is out. They need to get the ball back quickly. Caesar loses possession to Smeens. Smeens dives in and wins a free kick. And it almost went through a man's legs.
Well, he's so small. He actually went through his leg. Not almost that. He went through the leg.
He's always been the smallest.
And to those persons who are taking our commentaries, we are happy that you have joined us. Doc, it is always a pleasure for us to, sit here and describe the action. But it's also good to know that there are those who are sitting in their offices, in their homes, wherever they are, and taking our commentaries. We are happy that we are bringing some life to the game. And sometimes some person says, you guys almost want me to get out my house to come down to the REGTC.
Well, I'll tell you what. That's the point. That's why we do this. Here comes Javier. Finds his captain Tyler Forbes. Shifted all the way around to the other side in search of Jake Forbes. I wonder if they are related. Jake Forbes and Tyler Forbes. Here's Jared Smeens. He finds Keontae Brooks. And Brooks pass.
The ball is Keontae Brooks, really. Hard worker, but certainly in terms of his passing ability, that's something that he'll need to work on the training ground. But Smeens, like you did mention, very diminutive, small in stature, but I think he has a very big heart and speedy and aggressive. That's what I like to see from players. What they lack in size, they make up in different aspects in their mindset, Millie.
Indeed. We've seen him over the years, going from strength to strength for DFC.
Cleared away this time by Antoine. in towards Scipio. Back to Fleming. He now finds Lake Bryan. Scipio. As he now has Lee on his bike round the outside. Instead, shifts it into a Jordan Deans. Hughes. He can't find Lee, much to the frustration of Keith Jeffrey.
I think that ball going back across goal wasn't even the best idea because Smith was making the run down the left flank and Scipio chose to go inside and to change the flank to the right rather than going down the left.
Here's Forbes. That's Troy Forbes. Beats a man. Getting direct again. So he has about 3 players with their eyes on him. Shifted around this time toward, that's Alejandro Santos. Forward again to Forbes. Bundled over. BVI through.
That's why that was going the other side. Scipio, though, I must say he's interesting playing with that long lock, but very, 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 very composed and adapt to how he wants to play. And he's not a big man. He's tall enough here, but very lanky in stature, but shields the ball and holds the ball up very, very well.
Long throw in again by the centre back in at Caesar. That's a lovely ball back in. And it definitely was swerving around. Lawrence was a bit concerned.
Well, that was dropped through his hands there, Millie.
Here comes Gale. Looks to get it back. He's fast. But so is Mars. That's a lovely challenge there by Joel Mars. BVI throw.
Interesting, yeah. Wow.
I'll tell you what. It's Brown on that side. He doesn't often get it wrong.
He often doesn't get it wrong. So there's high marks coming from the man Doc there. And that's all good. I must say, hard as well, FIFA referee. Did grace of a presence there in the Masters 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. match there 2 Sundays ago. And really showing his expertise and his knowledge.
Shifted across. Here toward Caesar. Forbes. That's Jake's Forbes. Up for a throw. And more of the same in the second half. BVI maintaining possession and Angola content to keep everything in front of them. And not really concede too many chances in that dangerous final third. They're content to allow BVI to dominate the middle third and the defensive third, but just to make sure that they have an overload of numbers in the BVI attacking third. And not it over, looking for Jared Smeens, but, well, he shoved them over, but he'll get a throw it.
Play, don't shield it, man. The ball is in play. Play it. If you play it, I'm going to move you out the way to play it.
There was a man, Keisha Williams, there, trying to shield the ball that wasn't for him, so Smeens said, move, please. In a not so polite manner. Williams again, who was left sprawled on his back. Ball around the defense, looking for the on-rushing. The on-rusher Jahari Lacey. Lacey, one of the bright sparks in the first half. He's survived the halftime changes for the BVI. Javier. Morton goes wider for Jake's Forbes. His pass is read by Jared Smeens, who's trying to break away. Similar position again.
Yes.
And this time, wisely, Akija Williams decides to just, he'll stay with the ball this time. I'm not trying to go for the man. Foden. Caesar. He's going to find Mars. Morton. Looks like shifted over to this left back position. The man, Morton. Forbes. As well to get around a couple challenges and evade a third as well. Brilliant footwork there by Troy Forbes. And Santos goes back to Mars, now round to Morton. Forbes. Repelled again by the Anguillian defense.
It's the BVI team has had a lot of position in the attacking third, the defensive third of the Anguilla half, but they have not been penetrative. It's just a lot of back and across passes. I haven't seen nothing that's gone forward as yet.
Anything that goes forward is cut right back out.
Yes.
As a principle of playing with the low block. It's not often the most popular form of football, but I can guarantee you it's effective. It won Jose Mourinho about 3 Champions Leagues, so that'll tell you something.
Well, certainly my team probably need to adapt that because they've been dumped out of the Champions League very badly there. And I'm thinking whether or not that signing of Kylian was the right choice.
Well,
I don't want to say much on that. Big names, it seemed to be a big name, but that's all it seemed to be.
I think too many big names actually.
I like to often as Forbes. We'll get back to that point. It's Forbes. It's out, it's up for a corner. I know that I like to draw people's minds. We look at this current Real Madrid side, draw your minds back to the original Galacticos team, but not the Galacticos of the Makaleles and the R9 side, not the generation after that, when they signed Raul and they brought in who's it? When they sold Claude Makalele, the year they sold Makalele, and they brought in all of those big name players, the Robinhos, the Kakas, all of those guys, and it didn't work. It didn't work for a long time, and they went about 5 years or something like that without any sort of silverware until they went and they refixed it.
Yeah, there's a corner kick coming through, heads going up.
Foul, free kick.
But while we can say that yes, they have a number of injuries, and I really think that they missed the services of Toni Kroos when he would have retired. When you look at the likes of the Mbappe, the Vinicius Jr., the Rodrigos, even Jude Bellingham, they've been very, 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 very disappointing. Very disappointing, absolutely. You have to be able to play on both sides of the ball. 3 players cannot be on the field, Millie, and none of those 3 frontline players defends. And if you're going to be doing that, substitution to be made, you have to be at least bringing something to the table. What we have seen here, just to move away from as a substitute's been made, is it number 7, Millie?
So it's the end of the night for Joel Mars as well as for William Green. So that's their midfield battery. The midfield duo, the pivot has been replaced.
So Santos, it's not Santos, it's Septos comes in.
Carlos Septos, yes. Carlos Septos is in,
and Sebastian Santos.
The other Santos. So yes, go back to your point. You look at that first Galactico team when they had the likes of Zinedine Zidane and they sold them. They got rid of the old guard, and what really signaled the change of the Galacticos was their big signing of David Beckham. For those who remember, just put into the area. And they signed Beckham and sold Claude Makalele. And the only real defensive player they signed to replace anything that they lost was Sergio Ramos, a very young Sergio Ramos. And for that period, really, from about 01 to about 05, there was a lot of big names that just couldn't win the big one.
Yeah, they've been very, very unbalanced this year. And, I was talking to a co-worker friend of mine, because she was saying, yes, give them a chance. And they still think they have a chance. I said, with the way they've been playing, I certainly wouldn't bet my money on that. As we see Anguilla looking to make some substitute now, Doc, and certainly...
This is their way to break the game open.
Yeah.
She just can't come. It is going to be firstly Jared Smeens, whose night is over. He's...
who would we?
As well as Keontae Brooks. Coming in first up is number 7. Not quite recognizing.
Yes. It's been interesting to see the number 7 player. Yeah.
Lamar Carpenter.
That's not him. No, that's not him. No, we're just trying to get the number 7 player here. So we see some substitute being made by Anguilla.
It's Antonio Fleming, the number 7, who has come into the field of play. And that number 9 as well. Is that Jones? Yes, Jarvis Jones. Yeah, not listed amongst the team sheet, but you can pick out the face just barely.
Jarvis Jones coming in for Keontae.
Yes, coming for Keontae in the midfield area. Yeah. And Antonio Fleming is out on this left side, replacing Jared Smeens. Powerful header. Illegal. No, legal header.
Tell me how you see that. I'll go over to my far left.
Well, that is indeed the referee's assessor. Assessing tonight is Monique Carty. But that was an interesting call, Doc, because the player used the back of the Angolan player to make some height, and then he was called for the foul.
Well, what I think referee Harding might have seen is that the Angolan player backed up himself into the path of the...
Was he not strong enough to hold the player up? So that's why he was called?
Have time.
Fleming. 1-2 with Scipio. Gums. He's going to find Fleming. That's Antonio Fleming. Very good alert this about Antonio Fleming. Now Lake Bryan. Bustled off the ball. It will be a free kick.
I think Harden gave him that one. I thought he showed too much of the ball there. But probably maybe just having his legs moved, his standing leg moved from under him. And that's where the foul came about. But I really thought that he allowed a little bit of it, too much showing of it. And they're giving yes.
Another couple changes coming for Anguilla.
Yeah, so in the 64th minute of play, Millie.
Yes, and that looks like Tamarcus Connor and the man Kimari Gums was going to make their way in, but it's not after this.
The ball in by Aiden Scipio, still bouncing around and acrobatically dealt with. Well, let's fast Scipio again. Back to his captain, who shifts it around excellently. Malachi Gums looking for an incisive pass and almost found Antonio Fleming on the run. Good interception there by Scipio. Lake Bryan. Change of pace, change of direction. Wins a free kick. Excellent dribbling there by Kieran Lake Bryan. And they are going slowly but surely growing into the second half as well.
So Johnson has joined the party. Johnson has, no wonder he has abandoned us, because he has joined the party in the stands.
Of course he's up in the stands.
So Jaron Gale gives way. That's what Marcus Connor. And the number 2.
That's for the BVI.
And the BVI.
So that is going to be the man Javier, who is going to be replaced.
And Nikki is going to be coming in.
Expects a like-for-like change over at right back. Scipio again floats it. Bending over the back of the head in the corner. So Tamarcus is in. Can he, as he so often does, change the game?
Interesting to see
Won't be an in-swinging delivery. That was taken short and blocked away. I must say, when the short corners don't walk, they don't look good.
It could kill you to bone you.
It helps my coach's brain. As it almost sent the manager and Lacey running.
Well, what was good to see, Antonio Fleming, who would have kind of mucked that up a bit, was really tracking back, trying to stem the flow of the attack there from the BVI team. Again,
Mr. Marcus showing good alertness, good initiative. So it does appear like there's been a bit of a change tactically. So it's Morton. Yes, Juan Morton was come across to this right back position. So I guess Kalani Nicky will be playing over at left back. Morton loses out. Scipio is away through.
And one of the things that you were alluding to earlier, Tony, when players do not play, when attacking players do not play defense, what you're doing is putting a lot more work on the defense, and the advantage is given to the attacking team, because all of a sudden 3 players are out of the game.
yes. What it does, it gives the opposing team a lot more players in midfield to play, like we would have seen in that match against Arsenal as well. They would have had lots and lots of opportunity to play the ball in the spaces, because there is no real togetherness, and that the system just was not working.
Here's Santos. That would be Alejandro Santos shifting across to Caesar. Now, what's the other Santos? Was it? No, that was Jake's. Jake's Forbes. Again, I'm good at living dangerously. Santos, nodded on, looking toward Forbes.
I might have tended to keep.
Santos, a shot there this time by Jahari Lacey that's blocked.
I
Floated over.
Offside. No flag.
No flag goes up. It's still Jahari Lacey in the area. He goes down. Referee says nothing doing.
I know Coach Jeffries is the man behind the scene of things, though, Millie and Doug, but I probably would not have had Jarvis Jones and Jordan Dean playing together.
Interesting, because they play together for the Uprising FC. They're the Uprising FC's midfield duo.
Yeah.
Well, they make up two out of the trio. Of course, The third member of the trio in more recent times has been the man Leon Wiley, who's coming from Trinidad. But, of course, you'd be very familiar with the person who started off that midfield trio, a certain Jaden Fleming.
Yeah. As I would have probably maybe go to have Millington, who brings a lot, especially in defensive midfield, along with Scipio, and then tend to keep Smeens still maybe on the other end. I think for me that might have balanced it a bit more. That's just for me.
They offer two completely different profiles. One more a defensive monster, very much an engine in the midfield. The other, he's like a ticking clock. He's a tempo ticker. As running out of real estate was the British Virgin Islands forward and Jakes Forbes.
And the
Change
substitution
coming.
will come now for Angola.
It's Jordan Deans whose night is done. And Kamari Gums will be coming in to replace him. Raw, sheer pace.
Raw sheer pace without the ball. It's nothing actually.
But nah, touch that one there with you. Nah, touch that one.
Good to have good pace, but if you can't get it, that certainly negates your pace.
Indeed.
And when you
Hey, you can
ineffective.
be as fast as you want. If you're not moving, your speed means nothing.
Yes, you see player
This
down
could
there.
be some trouble here because Kieran Lake Bryan has had a very good shift. Is down here and the referee was giving him some attention. He's good to go. Scipio. I'm not sure how much of the live broadcast will pick this up, but I can distinctly make out the voice of the president of the Angola Football Association. You know him very quickly because
That's certainly a
that'll be a free
Frenchman
kick. He's talking back to his days playing in the midfield for Angola. His times on the ball in those positions and what he would do when he was there. Of course, that being the man Gordon Connor, a legend really of Angolan football. Former Angola captain for a long time.
Ian probably just feeling he has put in a very, very good shift into the 72nd minute of play. Yeah.
Antonio Fleming. Still Antonio. He couldn't keep it in play. It's out for a throw. It will be for a decisive moment in this game. It's a game that's ebbed and flowed. It's not quite had a killer moment for either side. With a pot shots here and there. His Kamari Gums, who can't corral that one. Taking down by Jones. An uprising contingent on the field of play right now. That's Kamari Gums trying to get forward. Out for a goal kick.
Haven't seen a lot of Keon Lee in this second half at all. Down that right, in the right back position. I haven't seen a lot of him in the game.
I think BVI has more been concentrating over on this side and our side here. Whether that would change, we will see. They're got a lot of position, but not a lot to show for it really. A lot of back and across, more so in midfield.
You're saying not a lot. They have absolutely nothing to show for it. They have absolutely nothing
Being modest.
nothing to show for it at the moment. It's with Caesar, and it's gonna go for a throw for the BVI.
Nicky Santos. Whipped round here for Williams. Ikaija Williams. Some space, and there was an aggressive pass that was cut out well. Alertness there by Kamari Gums. Williams. He goes back to his keeper and Harry Foden. Caesar. Who can find the decisive moment in this fixture? It only takes one moment of class. Of course, remember that these two sides will be doing a battle again coming up on Sunday, is it? On Sunday. At 4 in the PM.
Offside.
Yes, to Marcus. He's drifted offside. They're very direct.
Would you think that Angular should change his strategy just a bit, just to maybe press home the advantage, give maybe to Marcus a bit more options to at least go in on goal? It's always, you always want to win and not lose, but when you're really experimenting, you're trying to build, and so sometimes the scores is not generally necessary something that you would pay attention to.
Exactly my thought process, Tony. You would want to, even you concede, what you would want to do is to play very close to what you would want to in your qualifiers. And so if this is what we are going to be playing in our qualifiers, where are the goals going to come from? Because most of the teams that we are going to be coming up against, they are much faster teams and more technical teams even than the BVI. And so if we cannot break down the BVI and if we cannot score against them, it is going to be very difficult to see where the goals are going to come from in our qualifiers.
This is what I'll tell you.
Certainly.
Maybe the question that Keith Jeffries tried to answer today is not how can we score, but how can we stop teams from scoring against us when we go up there?
What is our position right now in qualifying? And that is what we have to...
Header coming in, and Lawrence had to poke it away. Still bouncing around, and this time the captain, Jermaine Hughes, gets clear.
And so while that may be so dark, one of the things that we have to take into consideration is our present position and where can we go from here, because no draws are going to help us. We have to win, and in order to win, we have to score goals. Where are those goals coming from?
It depends on whether you're looking at a 6-month plan, looking at a 1-year plan. Depends on how long the vision of Keith Jeffrey is. Because maybe qualification in this tournament is not as objective. Maybe it's a learning process for future tournaments. Everything has time, everything takes a process. If it comes off at the end, you can look back at this game and say, okay, this was the foundation that they started to build their defensive solidity off of. Because for as much as we may want to critique the lack of offensive ingenuity, at the same time we must compliment the fact that defensively they've been very astute. There's not really been much for the BVI today at all.
Well, and well said, Doc. But when you meet a more clinical team who can pick you apart, even though you have your defense stoutly, unless you be like Jose Mourinho, where you're packing it in, and even I think we saw on some occasion.
There are a few managers that like to pack it in. Of course, my favorite is Diego Simeone. I love Diego Simeone over at Atletico Madrid. Never ashamed to go up 1-0 early and sit back for 88 minutes.
But you see, I think too for him, he has got different phases when he can say to his players, "Well, I need you to get one."
Indeed.
So a substitution has been made. It's the man Lacey, Jahari Lacey, who has given way, and he has given way to the man Mark Tan, number 17.
Yes, into the 88th minute of play, still nil here between these two teams. Pretty good, nicely tight, keenly contested game here. Not much on both ends. If I say maybe Anguilla would have had the better of the opportunities had they been really doing what they needed to do. Probably could have been maybe one goal up or so, but been contented to defend and maybe break on the counter attack so far, especially in the second half.
I think the best chance of the game has probably fallen to the man in Scipio.
Yes.
There on the edge of the area. First a good save out of Harry Foden. I've not really seen Lawrence have much work to do today. Kieran Lake Bryan. He runs into a Morton wall. So a very good game today has the man John Morton. He's played left back, right back, midfield, wherever he's been needed, he's played. He's played very well.
I think Brian was looking for the tackle, but he's in Morton stayed on his feet. Was able to win that position and carelessly given away there.
Well, Tamarcus is very much a one-man pressing machine. One back position high up the field for his side.
Right, and that's what I was saying. When he presses and he puts the pressure on, let's say if the ball comes loose, you want to have that player, that Anguillan player right there to pick up that loose ball.
He's going to fight for everything. The throw.
So he always keeps the defenders honest in Connor.
There's never a moment that you can afford to sleep once the Marcus is on the pitch. Can Anguilla find some sort of respite in these last 10 minutes? Can they grab a goal? Can they create some opportunities to yet again put some pressure on the net of Harry Foden? Goes down, does Antonio Fleming, referee says get up.
That is a foul.
That's going to be a foul and a free kick.
Oh, that might be a talkie there, Millie.
Well, it was Carlos Septos who's just been brought into the field of play. He took not too long to get himself very much acquainted with Kamari Gums.
And it's very interesting, another substitution. It's going to be the man Pockets who's going to make his way in, and he's going to be making his way in for Malachi Gums.
So Lee will go over to left back, it appears, or will he? And Pockets will stay at right back.
There is another substitution. There's a double substitution. The number 5 in Antoine Fleming Knight is also done.
Oh. Anton Fleming is out.
And Carlos Reeves comes in. And I'm not sure that's too much of a good idea.
As a shot comes in by Scipio, I'm not questioning the idea at all. Remember, at the halftime we made the point, rotation of players.
Yeah, rotation
Antoine
of
played
players.
80. The coach saw he needed to see. Let's get Carlos out there to get some valuable game minutes.
Well, we see how
What I'm saying,
the mix is.
It is pulling your defensive line immediately. And I could see, you pulling one, you could have pulled one earlier, let him get into the rhythm of the game before pulling both at the same time.
What I will tell you is that when you defend with a back five, it gives you a lot more room for maneuverability in your back line. To Marcus, trying to be a solo act, he wins a free kick.
That's actually the first card. Isn't it going to be the first?
He's trying to keep his cards out of this game today, but Caesar has gotten himself in the referee's bad books.
Dangerous there. And well, you saw the card and you called it, and there was no hesitation from Harden at all to say, well, okay, yeah, it's not a foul, but yes, that's a bookable offense.
Taken short, round to Jermaine Hughes. Lee. It's going to go all the way back to Lawrence. And it's given away. Can Santos do it? Well,
in the first case, Doc, that ball came out of the midfield into the back, and it should have gone forward rather than going back.
Yes. Not only that, I think, what's his name there, Jelani, elected to pass the ball in the wrong direction. That ball should have gone to pocket on the far side of the field instead of coming back down that way when the player, the defender was right in front of the goalkeeper. There's no way he would have gotten that pass properly. Almost giving it away there in the last couple of minutes.
Well, we know Lawrence always has a mistake in him.
I think he has one in.
That wasn't the only one.
As good
I
as
hope
he
that
is,
was the only one for the night.
for as good as he is, there's always a mistake in Jelani Lawrence.
Well, let's hope that's the only one.
He's kept him to a minimum this season with the EastEnders, and as a result, they've had one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah,
Even though they're bottom of the league, their centre back and goalkeeper are Angola's national team starting centre back and goalkeeper. That's how good defensively they've been. They've just not been able to score. Very much like Angola. Fleming. I think I can tell you why he pulled Antoine. He wanted to make it easier for me because I kept mixing up Antonio Fleming and Antoine Fleming's names.
Right.
I kept calling them wrong, so making it easier for me. There's only one on the pitch now, and it's Antonio.
Yes, I think so.
Scipio Caesar runner. It's Kieran Lake Bryan. The fans want some sort of attacking intent by the Anguillians. They've come out for a fight. They want to see a fight.
Why didn't he let it go for a corner kick? Millie? I would leave that roll over and take a corner.
It's amazing at times our decision making.
Because he played
It's into the parts of the player. It is very surprising, or it's amazing our decision making at times.
I just wonder if the absence of Alex Fleming Franco has led to Jermaine Hughes being as restricted as he has been in this game. Lake Bryan puts it in, not dealt with. Antonio Fleming! Well, it was not too far away.
That was a rocket of a shot, and it just skimmed over the crossbar. Oh, that was in the 88th minute of play. He could have put it all away.
Had he got that low, I was wondering what reaction the keeper there with the baby eye would have come up with, but just sailing over the bar. And all he had to do is just wave his hands and say, well, I know you're going over. Not too sure if you knew about it, though.
The fans want to see them attack. The fans want to see a win. The home support has been strong for the Anguillians. Will they have something to cheer about before the 90 is up? Hughes, he's been a rock at the back for Angola today. He's been an absolute rock at centre back. The one-man pressing machine is currently out of service to Marcus's. Well, he's done his duty. He's a bit tired now. Santos. Cut out. Looking for Tamarcus. Up against some very good defending by Caesar, who's also been a rock at the back for the BVI.
But one of the things that I have noticed time and time again from the BVI players is that they're using their hands very often, and so when they get into a tackle, the hands seem to be coming up into the face very, very quickly. We saw it against Jermaine. We saw it against Scipio. Now we are seeing it against Marcus. The referee was there, and for the life of me, Doc.
No. I'll tell you, those are the things that the referees can't see on the pitch. The referee only has two eyes. Way up here, we can see everything. As a player, those are little things that I specialized in. When you go in, you leave your mark on a player. That's how you feel as a centre half. You leave your mark on him. You let him know, don't come back up here again. If you venture back this way, it's going to be painful. Stop coming up here. That's how centre backs deal with pacey forwards, because you know you can't run with a pacey forward. In other ways.
For this one, and to Marcus, it was probably more of a reaction feeling to Marcus trying to get the ball from him and trying to shield it as well as he would have done there, and inadvertently the hand probably came up and touched him in his eye.
Intentional for the referee.
Yeah,
unintentional.
Yeah,
for the referee.
Yeah, I think what happened is just him feeling, oh, that could be dangerous there, and he might have.
Scipio came in last.
Well.
And the BVI player came off second best.
Yes.
Well, we've had the 90.
It's probably the last kick of the dice, maybe.
I don't see any added time just yet. Will this be last chance saloon?
It is going to be.
It's lumped in, bouncing around, and Lake Brian can
That's
clear
it.
it, and that will be all here at the REGTC. A game that has been defined really by ebb and flow will be split even.
I tell you what, Doc, I'm amazed though. I'm amazed that we had about 10 substitutions. We also had stoppages and not a second added.
It's a friendly look.
We don't care.
Certainly it's a friendly, but all in all, good evening here on this beautiful Holy Thursday, and a good encounter between these two teams. I'm certainly sure that both teams would feel very much satisfied with the performance of the players. It all ended all stalemate here. We see some good football on both halves of the pitch from both of the teams, and I'm certainly looking forward to next Sunday, God willing, when these two teams will clash again. Maybe we'll see more excitement, more goals maybe, and certainly I was happy to be bringing it to you live right here from the REGTC.
You have to be careful what you're saying. It's not more goals, it's goals. Because we haven't seen any today. We have not seen one today. So it's not more goals at all. And we are hoping that we will see goal in that game on Sunday. Well, it was indeed a pleasure to bring you the action as it unfolds before us here at the REGTC with the BVI team taking on Angola in the first of two of the practice games as Angola warm up for international duties. Well, on behalf of the man Tony and the man Doc, coming to you live from Rainbow City, Angola, the REGTC, AIA Live, the only and one platform where we do live commentaries here. It is indeed a pleasure to say good night and goodbye from the voice of choice.